Good morning. Welcome to Pine Forest Braucherei. I'm Gretchen Swank. It's nice to see you all again. It's been a while since I have shared with you all here. I've been extremely busy, mostly working on a very complex, important apprenticeship project for my apprenticeship with the Orgalava Guild of Braucherei and Hexerei practitioners. I am really excited about this project and I hope it is resonant and helps a lot of people um, when it's completed. Other than that, it's just been life that's been very, very hectic and busy lately. Being a mom and doing my healing work in my day to day life, especially with spring upon us. Getting my garden open is very important to my work and my well being. I am not a whole person without my garden. This year, we have big plans to expand our vegetable and herb garden, putting up a fence. We started the fence last weekend. We are hopefully going to complete that fence here in the next couple of days, and that will be very nice. And I rely on those herbs to make a lot of the remedies that I make in my healing work. And that's very important to me and my feeling of being whole. And so I'm very excited about that, obviously. And of course, the food garden. Who doesn't love growing their own food, of course? And I use that food I grow in my recipes and for sustenance for my family and for healing as well in my healing work. And in addition to that, I will have my medicinal garden, my wild medicinal garden, as I did last year, expanding that this year and adding on a native pollinator garden because we are adding bees to our repertoire this year. Two beehives. We're getting two nukes in June. That is putting me over the moon with excitement. Those bees will not only help nature and the symbiotic relationship with the pollination and of my own garden, but of the local environment. And I could just go on and on about how important bees are to our food chain and to our survival. And that relationship between us and bees is so precious. And I'm super excited about that. And the honey, of course, in fall. Who doesn't want fresh, local, raw honey? And of course I use that in my home remedies and in my healing work as well. So again, symbiotic nature between humanity and nature and all that we do. We're part of nature. So that said, I could go on and on all day again about nature and our role in the environment and taking care of the environment and each other and uh, the ecosystem. But let's get on to why I wanted to speak with you all today. I just wanted to show you a healing remedy that I made over the last couple of days. This is a pain relieving salve that I made. I'm going to show it to you here. It is a little bit thinner. Let me get a good light on it here. I'm using natural light of the sunlight in my room today, so I didn't want to flood you all out with my overhead light. It's very green. This is all natural green from the main ingredient is comfrey with calendula. I used dried calendula that I have stocked and jarred in my apothecary downstairs. I used the leftover stock of my comfrey from my wild medicinal garden last season. I took that out of my apothecary and added the rest of that into this remedy here that I showed you and extracted all of the good stuff, all the healing properties and from that comfrey and calendula into grapeseed oil, organic grapeseed oil. You can use a double boiler to do that. You can use the natural extraction process of the sun, which is wonderful. Just takes a little bit longer time. You can use. I don't have a double boiler. I use my stove top usually. I just take a pot of water and put my oils and my herbs into a jar, a ball jar usually, and put it in the jar of water and turn my oven on warm, or my stove top on warm, and extract it that way for several hours, depending on what it is I'm extracting, and then sometimes I use my crock pot. For this method, for what I did with this remedy, I used my crock pot. And I like using my crock pot. I used one of the little small ones and just put water in it, of course, put it up. First, I put it on high to get the water nice and warm, then take it down to low immediately, then put the jar in there and then let it sit. And it keeps it a nice, even temperature. I let this one sit a little bit longer. I let it sit pretty much all day. I wanted to get all of those really great properties out of those dried herbs and into that oil before I strained it off and made completed the rest of the process. So once that happened, I want to say this: I use the folk method for all of my remedies. So you're not gonna see me with measuring a lot of stuff out. I do measure, but not strenuously. I don't, yeah, it's more eyeballing things, and I just use the folk method and throw stuff in. It's kind of like making grandma's recipe. It's just kind of throw a pinch here, throw a pinch there, but I eyeball it, throw it in, and go with it. And so once it was completed, I strained it off directly into a pot on my stove, where I added a little bit of beeswax, melted that down on very low heat, and I stir that continuously to get that beeswax nice and integrated into that extracted grapeseed oil. When I extracted this was nice and a dark forest green, exactly what I wanted between that calendula and comfrey extraction into that grapeseed oil. Mixed that around, and then I poured it into my ball jar. So this is a half pint jar, and I got an additional quarter pint jar out of that. And then I added peppermint oil and arnica oil. So done. Really mixed that up well. Stirred it in these jars continuously for a couple of minutes while all of that was really integrating. And as it cools, I continued to stir. Since I used very little beeswax in this because I wanted a less thick, less dense mixture, I didn't stir it. I didn't need to stir it quite as much to keep that beeswax nice and creamy and loose. This was already nice and loose, so stirring it up kept all of that the ingredients nice and fluid in there. So once it was cold, I just slapped the lids on it. I do have a sealer that I use to seal if I'm going to send this out to a client, or mail it, or put it in my apothecary for later distribution. But this I'm giving to a client directly tomorrow, so I'm not going to vacuum seal this lid because it's going out directly and just no need to. But I want to show this to you one more time for consistency. This just smells very earthy. It has a little bit of a peppermint scent to it because of the peppermint oils. So I just want to talk to you before we go here about what each of the ingredients in this does and how it aids in its goal of pain relief. So grapeseed oil is just really good for the skin. It really helps soften the skin. It has a lot of vitamins and nutrients to really moisturize the skin and aids in healing of superficial wounds and really it's antimicrobial properties as well. But the main ingredient, like I said, is comfrey. I'm going to give you a very important excuse me, let me finish a couple sips of my coffee here before I try to speak again. With comfrey, I'm going to give you a very important counterindication with comfrey. It's very bad for your liver. Some people do take it internally, and A lot of stuff that I've studied from herbalists back in like the 70s and things, when I'm going back and looking at herbal classes and herbal lessons and recipes for remedies coming out of like the 1970s. Comfrey is a huge tea that people took internally, and I have some clients who are so of the older generation who are very, very, I don't say stuck, but set in their older ways and set in their ways of, and they still make their comfrey tea and like right in front of me and drink it. And I don't want to say, hey, I'll give them a nice little nod and be like, oh, your liver must be very healthy that you're able to consume that internally. Little hints like that, it can go a long way, because research has gotten a little bit better over the years about some of the herbs and in medicinal ways, because we've gotten to be able to study them a little bit better. But externally, comfrey can be absorbed down in and be very, very useful for joint pain, especially the soft tissue around joints and the muscles that attach in, and like the soft tissue that supports the muscles, and like kind of where it all ties into like knees and elbows, and they're really good for arthritis pain, like especially in the hands. So it's really good for that type of pain relief. You can use it for other pain relief, like specific, just like direct muscles and stuff. It'll work, but it's really good for that soft tissue, especially related around the joint. Peppermint is a super, super uh, pain reliever in a complex myriad number of ways. It has a really nice cooling effect. It has that stimulant effect as well, especially for like the nasals, for like opening up and then cooling down. And when it comes to the skin, it can aid in like opening up. So that goodness and all the extraction of the good stuff that we take out of stuff like comfrey and calendula can soak down in and go down in and move down in to really achieve its goals and do its job. Calendula is more of a cleaner. It's like a cleanser. Calendula tea. I've taken it internally for purposes of like a reset with my nutrition, or when I want to just like kind of do an internal cleanse. So it has a lot of cleaning properties, and it's good to kind of go in there. It does have some uh, anti anti pain, like pain relief properties, anti uh, inflammatory properties as well. That's the word I was searching for. Again, coffee. It's early for me yet. So arnica, the last ingredient. Arnica is a powerhouse. Arnica can really help pain specifically. It really does soak down in there, especially when used with like peppermint, and that with a vessel to really go down in around that area of joints again coupled with that comfrey, big powerhouse of pain relief. Calendula and that anti-inflammatory powerhouse. But arnica, if you have like a broken bone, the trauma around like where the broken bone is, arnica can do a world of good and pain relief and healing around where that broken bone is. I've used it on people with like broken ribs and stuff, and the relief that they receive almost immediately from that arnica, coupled with peppermint or menthol or something that has that opening up and cooling down, is fabulous. So arnica is a very important pain reliever. So all of these gathered together in this nice natural remedy should do my client very well. So that's what I made the past couple of days, and that's what I've been up to lately. Again, very busy, just trying to prepare for the season and stay grounded in my work and look forward to the future with these projects that I'm really focused on, and I'm really excited about it all and sharing with all of you. So I hope to get back here soon with another video. to say hi, maybe talk about some of the things that are more seasonal related and things like that. And I hope you have a great Sunday. Bye bye.